In this video, I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about the John Deere 3039R. What's up guys? This is Brent with Western Equipment. Now let's go ahead and jump right on in and start talking about the model number of this tractor. Now right here, starting with the 3, this is going to indicate what family of tractor this is in. So obviously this here is in the 3 series family. Then if we look back here at our next 3 digits, these are typically going to be an indication of the horsepower of that tractor, and that does follow suit here in the 3 family. We're going to be at about 38.5 horsepower on this tractor, so not quite 39, but they use 39 on this tractor in the model number. Now the last letter here is going to be an indication of trim level. So this tractor is going to be in the R trim level. In John Deere equipment, we're going to have trim levels such as E, which is going to be your most basic, M, which is kind of your mid-spec model, and then R, which is going to be your loaded out tractor with the most features and functions available on it. Then also equipped on this 3039R is going to be a 320R loader. This also, like I said here, with the R here at the end of the model number, means that it's going to have the most features and functions, meaning that it is going to be a quick parking loader, very easy to take on and off depending on the application that you're going to be doing, which I also do have a video of that, which I'll put a link to down in the description below. And then we have the 3 here, which is going to indicate that this is a 3 family loader, and then the 20 here is just going to be kind of an indicator of those features and functions that's on this loader. The 3039R is going to have a 3-cylinder 38.5 horse Yanmar diesel engine in it. It is going to be turbocharged, and as far as service points on this engine, they are going to be very easy to get to, even with our side shields and hood down. If we look over here on the right hand side, we're going to have our engine oil filter, our fuel filter here with the water separator bowl, and then also our inline fuel filter as well, and our oil dipstick all over there where we can get to them without the removal of the side panel. Now the nice thing is that if we did need to get underneath the hood here, very easy to get to. This is going to use that key pop system that we see on a lot of different John Deere models. We would simply take a key or the key of our tractor, push it in here, pop that hood loose, raise up on the hood, and then now this is going to give us access to our air filter, our radiator, and then also our battery as well. But if we needed to gain more access to this machine, very easily what we'd want to do is take the loader off of the machine, which, like I said, I have that video showing how that's done. And then our side panels can be easily removed then once we get that out of the way. We can also take our front grill off here to gain very easy access to the battery. And then also our front guard here is going to be very easily opened as well, just by simply twisting this pin. And we can let that down to give full access to the engine to do any type of service work or maintenance that we need to do. Now, before I hop in the operator station, just a little bit here about the loader. On the 3039R, the 320R loader is going to have a lifting height of 102 inches. That is going to be at the very top there. Then whenever we're talking about lifting capacity, the one that I like to use is the measurement that is close to 2 to 2.5 feet away from the pivot point, because that is going to be about where most of your weight is normally. So what you're going to have at full lifting height here is a lifting capacity of about 1,200 pounds. Now, if you're lifting things just lower off of the ground, moving them around, you obviously are going to have a lot higher lifting strength here. But whenever we're talking about at max height, 1,200 pounds is what we're going to be at. But one thing to keep in mind is anytime we're doing that front loader work where we're lifting a lot of loads, make sure that you are ballasted correctly, meaning you have a weight box on the rear, maybe a rear implement, you have wheel weights on those tires, or have those tires filled with fluid. We want to make sure that when we're doing that loader work that we are being safe when doing so. Now, moving here to the operator station, first thing that I'd point out is that you do have a weight adjustable seat here. So you can either crank up the suspension on this seat if you are that heavier operator, or crank this down if you need a little less suspension. You're also going to have a seat slide on this seat, so you can move this forward and aft to make sure that you can fit that operator that is going to be operating this tractor. And then you're also going to have a tilt steering wheel on this tractor. Now these are all going to be R series features that you don't normally get on a E-level tractor. So once I go ahead and hop right in here, a lot going on in this operator station. So we'll just go ahead and start over here to my left. First thing that we would have is you are going to have a grab handle when getting into this machine over here on the left. You're also going to have a toolbox over here on the left. This is usually where we're going to find our operator manuals whenever first buying these machines. But these can be used for many different things, storing those different items that you want to keep on board. Nice and handy little storage area there. Now, if we move over here to the left, this tractor is going to be equipped with the e-hydro transmission, meaning that we have the 2 pedals down here on the floor, and then we have a range selector over here to the left that's going to have ranges of A, B, and C. A being your low gear, B being your working gear, and C being your road gear. Now you also will have the option in this tractor to get what's called a 12-12 power reverser transmission. That's going to consist of a range selector and a gear selector, along with a knob up here, or a lever rather, up here on the steering column to bring you from forward to reverse. But this tractor does have the e-hydro, so we have our range selector right here to our left. Right by that, we're also going to have our seat belt. Now, very important here on the seat belt is that if we're in a situation where our ROPS could come into play, if we're on those hills or on any of that uneven terrain where we could happen to turn this tractor over, roll it, we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of that seatbelt, because when we have that seatbelt on and our ROPS up, as long as we stay in the tractor whenever it does roll over or make that turn, then we can stay protected as long as those 2 things are in place. So make sure and don't just brush that seatbelt to the side and forget about that. Make sure and use it if you're in a case where you definitely need it. Now, moving down here to my left is going to be my 4-wheel drive engagement. Whenever it is in the down position, the 4-wheel drive is off. If I were to raise that up, that's going to engage our 4-wheel drive. Next, right below that, indicated by the orange handle, is going to be our parking brake lever. This is going to be an automotive style parking brake where we could just push the button in, push it down to release it, and then to raise it up just like that, and it's going to lock it into place. And then right below that, we're going to have this silver pedal here. This is going to be our differential lock. Now this is what's going to lock in those rear wheels to make them work together when we're in those really sticky situations. We can simply reach back with our heel, push down on that pedal. That's going to lock those rear wheels to where they will really work together to get you out of a sticky situation. Now, to the front here is going to be our brakes, and these are going to be what's called turning brakes. Most of the time, what you would want to do is just leave these locked together like they are here, because these can be unlocked by raising up this lever, and these pedals can be used independently. A lot of times this is going to be more for the experienced operator, because what this is going to do is this is going to be an individual brake for each wheel. So the left pedal would be to the left rear wheel, the right pedal to the right rear wheel. And what that does is, by being able to brake with those independently, you can make sharper turns, harder turns. But a lot of times we just want to leave these locked together and use that as a brake, just like we would in our vehicle. Now, moving up here onto our dash, we'll notice first thing over here to the left is we have a couple of open sockets here. These are going to be pop outs where we could simply pop these out, add in a couple of switches to whatever type of implement we may be adding to the rear. Maybe we're adding additional lights to this machine, extra attachments. You do have a couple of knockouts right here where we can add those different switches. Like I mentioned before, we do have that steering wheel that is going to be adjustable here, adjustable steering column to make sure and make it comfortable ride for whoever is operating this machine. Then up here on our display panel, we are going to have a fuel gauge. We will have our RPM gauge, and then also our coolant temperature gauge right here on display. And if we move over here to the right, this is going to be where we have our instrument panel here. This is going to have our turn signals here. It also has a button for our computer here on the dash, which I'll go over a little more here in a minute. Then we're also going to have our hazard lights right here down below our computer switch. Then over here to the left and the right, this is going to be our buttons for our DPF system, or our diesel particulate filter system. What this is the exhaust cleaning system on these machines, and you'll notice that what these look like is a couple of puffs of smoke coming out. One here is going to have the P on it. One here is going to have that puff of smoke with a line through it. One thing we definitely don't want to do is ever have this one engaged, the one with the line through it. We want that cleaning system to always be active. That way, whenever we're working, as that machine decides that it needs to clean the exhaust system, it can do that while we're running the machine. Now, the one to the left with the P, sometimes this will flash up on our screen here and tell us that we need to do what's called a parked regen. So that means we would need to pull up somewhere, park the machine, leave it on, hit our parked regen button, and then let it do its thing. That means that that filter is really dirty, and so it needs to not be running and doing other tasks and just focusing on cleaning that filter whenever we have that pop up. Now, right below those buttons is going to be our light switch here. So we have an off position, we have a lights position, and then a work lights and lights position as well. And then right next to that is going to be our throttle. So this is going to indicate how much power we are sending to the machine. Now, right below that is going to be our key switch. And then right down below our seat is going to be a knob that often gets overlooked, but this is our rate of drop knob, and this is going to have to do with our 3-point arm. So whenever we have an attachment back here on the 3-point, we can adjust the rate of drop on that 3-point, or the rate of how fast those arms are going to come up and down, by adjusting this knob right down here below our seat. Now, this can be important whenever we're talking about having a heavy implement there on the back. We may want to tighten up that rate of drop. That way, whenever we go to lower that with our lower lever here, that it's not going to just slam to the ground. So keep in mind that that is there and that we do need to use that from time to time. Now, moving over to here to my right, we are going to have our loader joystick here. Very simple, just like most loaders here. We're going to have that 4-way function on that loader system. Right next to it, just right above, is going to be our PTO selector. So on these tractors, on the 3039R, we're not only going to have the rear PTO, but we're also going to have a mid PTO. So that way you can add such things as the belly mowers, the drive over decks onto this machine. So we do have that selector here. We're in the top position, we're only using the rear. In the middle position, we can be running the rear and the mid at the same time, or if we push that all the way down, then we're only running the mid PTO. Now, right up above that is going to be, like I said, our 3-point arm adjustment here. So this is going to be our raise and lower lever. It is going to have that locking mechanism so that we can pick that point that we want to lock this 3-point in, so that we return to that position at the same place every time. So very nice feature there. Say if we're grading roads with a box blade and we only want to go to a certain depth, or maybe we're mowing with a brush cutter and we only want to go to a certain depth, we do have that lock where we can lock that into place to make sure that we go to that same position every time. Now, over here to your right, this is also going to be something that is specific to the 3R in the 3 family. With this e-hydro transmission, you're also going to get a lot of transmission options that are electronically controlled right here at this panel. So for one, you are going to have electronic cruise control, where you can hit that button to set your cruise control, and then just like in your vehicle, you can either set that or raise that. You can lower it or raise it right there with your set and reset, your plus and minus buttons here. But then below that, we're going to have a lot of other things here. First thing is over here to the left, we're going to have our e-throttle button. Now what this does is this is going to reduce fuel consumption. This is going to match your engine RPMs with the speed. Whenever we're pushing on that forward pedal and we have our e-throttle engaged, it's going to make sure that you're going full speed, but also optimizing the fuel consumption that you're using. Now over here in the middle, this is going to be our max speed button. So what this is we can set a max speed on the tractor to where no matter how far down someone pushes the pedal, that is the max speed that they're going to travel. This can be great for uses whenever we say are in a barn, or if we're in a certain area, maybe where we're using that rear implement where we have to go at a certain steady pace, but we don't necessarily want to have our cruise control on. We can set that max speed to where as soon as we hit that pedal, we can be holding it all the way down and only be going that one speed. And then over here to the right, this is going to be our load match system. This is going to be great for whenever we are doing loader work. What this is going to do is match our engine performance with the type of loads that we're trying to handle with the loader to avoid the engine from stalling out. Say we're driving into that heavy pile of gravel and the engine tries to get overloaded. If we have our load match on, the engine will automatically rev up to the RPM that it needs to add the power to be able to raise that loader up and do the work that it needs to do. And then right below that is going to be our motion match switch. Now this is a nice feature here. This is going to either lengthen or shorten our travel distance once we let off of those pedals. So let's say that we want to have a slower stop or a longer roll in whenever we are going into a pile. We can turn this switch over. That way, as soon as we let off of the pedal, we'll have a little bit more roll before we come to a stop. Or if we're doing that loader work where it's very finicky, very precise, and we need those stops to be short, we can turn this over to the right. And then as soon as we let off that pedal, it's going to come to a lot quicker stop to make sure that we are precise with those movements. Now, to the right of that, we are going to have a 12-volt outlet. We're also going to have a little bit of a storage cubby here. We're going to have a row of switches here with only one in it. This is going to be our PTO engagement switch. So it is a three-way switch where we put one for on, then we'd have to hold it down to actually turn that PTO on. Then we can go back to our off position here. Right next to that, we're gonna have 3 additional knockouts. Now this makes 5 knockouts on this tractor to be able to add 5 different switches to this machine that it does not already have. So this is a very nice feature. You can do a lot of things with this machine, add a lot of accessories, or have a lot of different switches for our rear implements. Very nice there. And then of course we are going to have a cup holder right here so we can have that beverage on board with us. And then also don't forget, like I said, we do have our ROP system here. This also can be easily folded back. We have a 2 position here where we can either be in the upright or that we can be leaned back. So if we're in those situations where we're having to drive under a lot of low-lying trees, or maybe we need to lower this down so that we can get into our barn, we do have that option here to be able to drop that down. Now, the rear of the tractor on a 3039R has a lot of customization going on back here. There are a lot of great things about this rear end. We'll start up here up top. You are gonna have a set of rear couplers here. So if you are pulling one of those implements or using one of those implements here at the rear that needs hydraulics, you do have those on the machine. You're also gonna have the option of adding additional hydraulics to the rear. We can add another set of couplers. We can also add a Power Beyond kit and an extra diverter kit, all of those things to make sure to meet your hydraulic needs here at the rear. Now what we're going to have is a standard category 1 3-point hitch here at the rear. So these are going to be set up here for your category 1 implements. But the nice thing about this 3-point is that it is fully adjustable. So we have an adjustable top link here that has 3 different positions where we can move that top link either up or down. We're also going to have the adjustments here on our 3-point arms to let them have a little bit of float to them by simply turning this pin over into this slot to where it'll float. And we're also going to have the adjustable sway bars here that are easily adjusted with a pin system rather than having to use the old style turnbuckle system where we have to have a couple of wrenches to adjust those. This is simply just an easy pull pin system, very quick to change that out. Then of course we are going to have our PTO shaft here at the back. This is going to be a 540 PTO shaft. And then we're also going to have a drawbar down here at the bottom. This is also going to be adjustable. We can see the pin there on top. We can either pull this out, push this in to make sure we have that at the right length for whatever piece of equipment we are going to be pulling. Now there are a couple of service points here at the rear. One is going to be our transmission and hydraulic oil dipstick right here. And then our fill for that transmission hydraulic oil is going to be right here above our top 3-point arm. Now, like I said, this tractor also is going to have a mid PTO. So that is going to be located over on the right-hand side, right underneath the floor right here. So that way, if you are looking at adding such things as that drive over deck, you do have the option of that mid PTO right there. So now go ahead and fire this up so you can have a good hear at what it sounds like. Now this is going to be at low idle. Here's at about 1,700 RPMs. There's at about 2,700 RPMs. Dial that back down. I'm gonna go ahead and take the parking brake off. Raise the loader up. Just give a little forward. See just how easy and smooth that is. A little bit of reverse. Nice and smooth. Very nice operating tractor. Everything about it feels very smooth whenever running it. Super easy to use with that e-hydro transmission. Also very nice having that quick park loader. Like I said, make sure and check that video out. You can see just how easy that is. Now, a couple of specs let's go over whenever we're talking about lifting capacity here at the rear. We're at almost 2,200 pounds, so keep that in mind whenever we are adding those rear implements. 2,200 pounds is going to be the max. And if we're getting up to that kind of weight, we want to make sure that we are ballasted here in the front. Now, fuel capacity on this tractor. For one, the fuel opening is going to be here on the hood. It is right here, right in front of your steering column. The open operator station tractor, so the one like we're in today, has a capacity of 10 gallons. Now, in the 3039R, you can also get this in a cab model as well. This is going to be a full climate controlled cab with heat, air conditioning, all of the things to make this a year-round tractor. But if you have that cab model, you're going to be at 12.6 gallons here at the fuel capacity. And of course, that is going to be located in a different spot on a cab tractor. Now, for this tractor, whenever we're talking about warranty, it is going to have the regular compact utility tractor warranties. So it is going to have a 2-year 2,000 hour bumper to bumper warranty. Then it's also going to have a 6-year 2,000 hour powertrain warranty, meaning that covers your engine and transmission. So a lot of times we're going to hit these year marks way before we hit those hours. So it's just good peace of mind to know that you are going to have that engine and transmission covered for that 6 years. But keep in mind, you also have the option of extending out that bumper to bumper warranty for just a little additional cost to match your 6-year powertrain as well. Now, whenever we're talking price on this machine, we're looking right around the $43,000 mark list price. Now, keep in mind that is going to be with everything that you see here today, with the loader, all of the way that this tractor is equipped, but that is list price. A lot of times you can be looking around at these dealerships. There may be specials going on. There may be financing options, things like that. So make sure and talk to your local dealer about what type of deal you can get on one of these today. So guys, I hope this video helped you out. I hope you liked this video. If you did, we just ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also guys, if you're needing any John Deere parts at all, make sure to go check us out at 247parts.com. And as always guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, make sure to check out this cool video and this one. Buy your parts right up here and subscribe right here.